Good afternoon and welcome to the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup final playoffs. We're going to be getting started very shortly with the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup quarterfinals. And I'm Karis, and joining me today, it's Heroes at School.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing?
Oh well, actually, I'm feeling pretty fine because I have 3 casts ahead of me. I think for you it's only 2. If I remember I think it was the Epic Cup last year, wasn't it?
I think it was either that or Legendary. Yes.
Yeah, one of these 2 where we had like 9 casts in a row. So yeah, I feel pretty prepared for that this time. Yeah.
It was an intense time, and we all remember it. Some amazing games actually last season as well. Well, it's going to be some amazing games today, hopefully, as well as some of the top teams from Division 4 and 5 go head to head in our knockout competition. So, to give the background of how they've got here, the teams from Division 4, the top 8 teams from Division 4, the top 8 teams from Division 5 went through into the group stages as drawn in the Heroes Lounge draw show. Then they've played in the groups, and the top 2 from each group of 4 has come through now to today's knockout top 8. And first up will be AFK for Coco versus XL5.
Yeah, I think we got quite a nice match immediately ahead of us. AFK for Coca, they won the regular season, or they finished in first place. So clearly they're one of the favorites here, and they dominated the group stage as well, if I recall it correctly. Let me quickly recheck. Yes, oh, that's the wrong cup. Can you help me out here? I think it was that they went through it, didn't they?
In the division stages, or the...
No, the group stages from the playoffs. I think they ended up, yes, in
AFK
Group
for
A,
Coco were top
first
of their
place,
Group A,
3
yes.
win.
And XL5 were, I think, second in their group, because we marked the top of each group with the second of each.
Yes, they are in Group D, and they are just behind Mustaches, who are very strong as well. So I think we have a slight favorite in AFK for Coca. They lost 2 maps only in the group stage, but yeah, in general, I think they might be the favorite here. But we all know, like, nerfs coming in and stuff like that in the knockout stage. Every game counts, and at every mistake is punished even more. So yeah, this might actually play a role here.
Yeah, I actually cast AFK for Coco in the group stages for part of Heroes Lounge Mega Monday matchup, which is our weekly Monday cast on the Heroes Lounge channel. And yeah, they won that quite convincingly. And Poppin Fresh, who spoke to us in the interview afterwards, he was seeming confident, although cautiously so, about their chances for the Epic Cup this weekend. So AFK for Coco, definitely a team to watch out for. XL5, I mean, they've definitely also not to be discounted. We know that for example, they've got Myrmidon, who was casting yesterday's Rare Cup, but they, yeah, I mean, what's the background of XL5? How well have they done throughout the season?
Let me quickly recheck that. Haven't been too up to date, but I think they were not too shabby either. Let me quickly relook before I say something stupid. So first of all, where am I? Give me a time.
Well,
So
while you check
oh yeah,
that.
they finished up in 9th place actually. So barely just making it through to the playoffs, but in Division 4. So just from the regular season, I can't recall if they played against each other, but it doesn't look like it was in the real past. So yeah, again, slight favorite role for AFK for Coca, but yeah, like sometimes really the teams they perform very differently in the regular season as well as in the group stage, because sometimes during the regular season, if the team is new, they'll find each other, they find new tactics, and they get a run towards the end of the season, and all of a sudden, they can perform at its best maybe in the playoffs. You never know what can upcome there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that in the Rare Cup final last night. Actually, is in that we had 2 teams who had previously gone head to head, and they had, Sloth High Lords had previously beaten Fat Nova 2-0, and yet we still had a very close grand final. last night in the Rare Cup. It's definitely worth checking out the VOD of that later on for anyone who didn't manage to catch it. And I think all of this stuff will be on YouTube on the Heroes Lounge YouTube channel in the foreseeable future. We've got a map picked already. We are going to go to Alterac Pass for the game number 1 in this best of 3 quarterfinal. I'll quickly show you the map bands there so people can see, how it is that which maps have been picked and which maps have been banned and which have been picked and so on. So you can see the Battlefield of Eternity and Towers of Doom banned by XL5, Cursed Hollow and Dragonshire banned by AFK for Coco, and we are going for game number 1, as I say, to Alterac.
Yeah, interesting map for a first map actually. Let me quickly recheck that I'm not talking anything stupid here, but yeah, I think yes. I'm kind of irritated. I thought we might have a first map if it wasn't banned for sure on Inferno Shrines. Well, we don't. We are ended up on Alterac Pass here, and yeah, I think it's a very, very strategic map as it's so large. Sometimes you can even ignore the first objective and just go push through one lane because the teams hardly have enough time to react on that. Global's very, very helpful here on this map. So yeah, you can see Vikings here, you can see Abathakums. I think there's all sorts of stuff that can come to here on Alterac Pass.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways they can play it. Now, for viewers who want to up the excitement for themselves, you can bet virtual points, virtual meaningless points, by typing !bet A and a number of points to bet on AFK for Coco, or !bet B and a number of points to bet on XL5. And if you want to see how many points you got, !points, and they are not the same as the points you see below the chat because they're separate point systems. But they're fun points. Points give you magical fun, as Garrosh and Malf are picked up for XL5.
Yeah, actually not too surprised by the first pick here. If I recall it correctly, yes. So AFK for Coco are actually denying the Johanna here to the side of XL5, who really love to play the Johanna and have a nice win rate during the regular season. So logical picks here. And we have the immediate reaction with Malfurion and Garrosh here. Also, Malfurion kind of a denial towards AFK for Coco, who love Malfurion themselves. So both teams seem to be very well informed about the opponent here.
Yeah, so one thing that's slightly surprising is to see Linux going for the Jaina instead of the Li Ming. So we saw Linux playing Li Ming a lot in the group stages, and Linux was absolutely devastating force on that Li Ming. Arguably one of the best players there. I think the idea by switching to the Jaina here instead of the Ming is to get some slows for Garrosh, keep him kited a bit so he can't come in, and of course potential synergy with Reyna if he's going for the Ace in the Hole talent at level 1. The slows from Jaina will nicely help Reyna do a fair more chunk of damage as Zagara gets banned.
Yeah, I do totally agree with that idea. Also, Reyna, pretty good counter to Garrosh himself, as his Q can just get rid of a Garrosh who comes closely enough. And they need that because I think one of the worst tanks to counter of a Garrosh is Johanna. I know that many people disagree on that, but I personally don't like the escape mobility from Johanna after the throw. So if you block the throw, I know you have your self-cleanse, I know you can try just to run back, but you have to run. It's not like an ETC you can slide back, or Muradin who can jump, or Diablo who can charge, or anything like that. So yeah, I think Johanna against Garrosh for me is kind of a bad matchup for the Johanna. So makes a lot of sense to counter out the Garrosh with Jaina and Reyna, as you told us.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Johanna isn't like ETC. She can't keep Garrosh at bay, for example. So Johanna has a harder time stopping Garrosh just walking in. I think, as you say, then the Jaina and the Reyna will have that job of keeping him at bay. The danger might be for Imperius, though, because he's got to go in. And that, in a sense, Garrosh might just be waiting to punish Imperius for going in too optimistically. So Zesleaf got to play really careful here and not get found out. And there's the Zool. Now, Zool, slam banned in every Storm League game at the moment. And yet, in the Rare Cup yesterday, and here in the Epic Cup, we've seen him make it through both ban phases and no early picks, coming to be last picked here. What's the, why aren't they banning Zool like we do in Storm League, let's say?
Yeah, I think it's always, when we're watching Heroes launch games, you always have the problem of, do you go meta bans or do you go just bans towards the opponent, because you do have that that much of information about the two teams that are opposing each other. So it makes some sense not to go against the Xul here. And I'm honest to you, I think he's in the lower divisions. He's still just a last pick material, because you still can counter Xul. And I think his meta is still very strong on the 2-lane maps, or the closer maps where he can double soak very easily. So I think Alterac Pass is not that particularly highly prioritized for Xul players. Nonetheless, his rework. But of course, he does offer a lot of setups. So yeah, interesting picks here.
Yeah, it is an interesting kind of meta flavor that we're seeing from these teams. Well, we'll have to see what happens as we go into game number 1 in this best of 3 quarterfinals. And in blue on the left, we have AFK for Coco with Rights on Rhaegar, Poppin' Fresh, the Heroes Lounge content manager on Reyna, Mikey Yemek on the Joanna, Zesleaf on Imperius, and Linux on that Jaina.
And on the right side, for XL5, we do have Hamas Valas on Malfurion, we have Odorox playing Liming, we have Skyt on the Xul, we have Turba going with the Garrosh, and Myrmidon going in with Thrall here.
So, level 1 talents are in. It is, of course, Ace in the Hole for Reyna, synergizing with that Jaina damage. Not going for the Exterminator that's so popular at the moment because it's been buffed a gazillion times. Jaina going for Lingering Chill, and I guess, again, that's all about synergizing with that Reyna, and of course controlling the Garrosh, getting slows in for longer, keeping everything nice and slow. That helps Reyna, and that stops Garrosh.
Yeah, we also see a classic Echo of the Elements, of course, for Thrall, so nothing too surprising here, coming in with a 4-man Thrall there, maybe, as we do have a slight engage here on the bot side, but both teams actually rotating with 4-man mid and bot, and a solo lane at the top lane, which isn't Xul. I mean, that's the one thing that is really surprising to me. I know they have this faster wave clear with Xul, and they can really well rotate between 2 lanes. Still, I would have imagined him on the solo lane.
Yeah, in fact, they're rotating top pretty hard here, XL5, looking to catch that Imperius, which means, of course... Oh, surely. Bye-bye. Yeah, and the Malfruit catches as well. I mean, that's good night. Good night, Zesleaf. You are first blood. But that means, of course, that XL5 did not take their siege camp early, unlike AFK for Coco, who now have that countdown timer, crucially, up and running. And that means they'll be able to get another siege camp rolling at the start of the objective.
Yeah, and we actually see them rotating towards the camp now, the team of XL5, and I'm honest with you, I think they could have just let this gone through, but yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense that we see XL5 pretty fast going for that siege camp, as they do have excellent clear off camps with Rhaegar and Jaina. So yeah, not too surprising, and we see it with the time that actually XL5 needs to clear this camp. That was quite a bit longer than on the other side for AFK.
Yeah, they've not really got the same amount of wave clear. Like, Ming and Malf are not the same as Jaina and Joanna and Rhaegar in terms of wave clear, so that means camp clear as well. And that, of course, means that, yeah, look, the blue team's just going to clear this camp trivial in the mid lane. And certainly in terms of camp value, at the moment, you get the feeling like AFK for Coco are slightly ahead, although they are down 1 kill and fairly neck and neck on XP. As we look at the XP total there, it is a slight lead for XL5.
You're kind of surprised that we actually see Sin's exposed seen here by Johanna, a talent which is really very often taken for better wave clear, and I think the team, as we just spoken of, offered enough from that, and there we see her caught out, and that's the danger, and that's what I meant by he has not the best escapes in the world. I mean, she gets away here, but with the later stages and with more than just 2 members of the team of XL5 there, this could have been dangerous for her.
Yeah, I think that's why she has that hold your ground at level 1, so that she's always got the Unstoppable available to deal with that Malfruits. But it's, yeah, it might not be enough. It might not be enough, as you say. Once that Iron Skin is down, then the Garrosh and Mouth might be able to punish. Oh, nice engage though onto Mouth, but is Mikey Yemek a little bit overextended? There's the Iron Skin. Will keep Joanna healthy for now. Garrosh has to pop his Unstoppable, which is a much longer cooldown, to get away.
And meanwhile, we saw the second camp taken in the mid lane, and we've spoken about that. So, but it looks like there's not too much harm coming in, as the team is pretty much able to clear it just before the fort. So, yeah, I think we have a fair exchange so far. Level 7, not yet here for AFK, but soon to be. So, yeah, pretty evened up this game. So.
A little bit of chat there about the history of these players.
Whoa.
Oh, as immediately Joanna gets thrown in. And look, the Iron Skin's been deleted, but Imperius skewers in, catches onto Mouth, catches onto Li Ming. It's 2 on the deck, and they're going for a 3rd. There's a Roots onto Jaina, though. Is she going to be in trouble? Nice little cleanse there from the Rhaegar, keeps Jaina alive. And it's a massacre here in favor of AFK for Coco.
Yeah, I mean, interesting setup there. Kind of surprised because the setup from Garrosh was perfectly there. And Jaina was surely that, in my opinion. But the throw just slightly mistimed there. And yeah, instead they throw Johanna again. And, you know, that's not your priority target if you can avoid it.
Yeah, well, they did manage to blow through that Iron Skin. So then I thought, well, you know, Joanna's at risk here. I wonder if maybe they should hold on the Malfruits until after the Iron Skin's been blown, because it seems like their combo is very much throw the Garrosh and have the Malfruits ready to land, which is great against everybody except Joanna.
Yeah.
But the challenge is, of course, that there will be, you know, if she has the Iron Skin, she can just walk away.
Okay, so XL5 actually deciding to let the first objective come through here, and instead go for a camp in the other time, and that's making a lot of sense. Although AFK for Coco with a quick reaction and taking the camp themselves, so still all the 3 lanes are to worried about. And meanwhile, we do see a setup of a slide trap at the bot lane, but I don't think Skool is gonna fall for that.
I don't think so. If we look at his vision, oh, maybe. Hang on, looking at his vision here. Zul might be, yeah, they know that they can't catch him, so still Zul will sheet there, will be able to get away on the Zul. And in the mid lane, everything's been cleared pretty safely by XL5, and the top lane Thrall's not having too much difficulty either, so it is just about that bot lane pressure. Will probably get a fort, and there's not much that Zul can do. But what if he gets some friends here?
Yeah, I mean, it took them quite some time, and then decided, I mean, if we look, I think they overstayed in the middle a bit, and they didn't get too much damage done there, so it's not that they have that push potential, even especially without Exul and without a Thrall, so you don't get buildings down that fast, and they should have maybe rotated bot a little bit earlier to have out Exul here, but I think in general it was hard to really hold on to that fort.
Yeah, I think given the lack of a 10 in particular, yeah. So they are now 10 for both teams. 6 kills to 1 in favor of AFK for Coco, of course, but that's mostly from that one big fight that was a slaughter. Other than that, it's fairly even, the game. So it's just that one fight as Joanna's scouting out there. Now, does she know? Mikey Yemek, got to be a little bit careful. There's the Roots, has the Iron Skin available, just walks away.
Wow. That was a Twilight Dream that caught me by surprise.
Yeah, sorry, I was not expecting the Twilight to be used for that. Garrosh throws away here. They want to disengage. Myrmidon, though, getting completely locked down. Pops the Earthquake, but already dead. The taunt's there. Onto Rhaegar. Gets the Ancestral off, though. Joanna on pretty low health. But the Ring of Frost, absolutely enormous. Demolishes 2 members already. They've got a counter kill on the Joanna, but it doesn't matter because they're going to get 5-man team wipe there on the side of AFK for Coco.
Power of a good tank here, and especially very, very strong Ring of Frost here, really devastating through the enemy team there. I think like a Twilight Dream could have helped a lot in this team fight, but you know, that's the one thing we were talking about punishing mistakes, and that's what you gotta do. So quick reaction here from AFK. They saw the misplaced Twilight Dream and they immediately thought this is our time to fight. and really engaged hard there. Imperius doing a great job in the setups here, and yeah, the rest of the team just finishing off. Very, very well played so far from AFK here.
Yeah, they're looking very, very strong here in game number 1. They want to win the Epic Cup. I can smell it. I can smell it on in their hunger as the boss marches down that bot lane, and level 13 comes in for AFK for Coco, who of course have done their siege camp again, and that will roll continuously down the mid lane. Level 13's are in.
I mean, we have to maybe keep in mind that fight, although we saw a clear 1-5 here, that it was somewhat close because they were really dropping low. And if Li Ming survives a low dropping like that, we know that she can run through a team all by herself almost. And yeah, they had no Twilight Dream. Wait a minute. Johanna going in with the Blast Shield, and she actually gets a lot of damage done there. We see 3 members dead already and almost no damage done. The poison from Xul just coming in, but what a setup here from AFK for Kokra. Johanna just casually walking in, Ring of Frost with the follow-up, and boom, that's how you gotta do it. Be aggressive there.
Beautiful, beautiful engage, and they knew they had the talent advantage, but more important than that, they had the jump, and yeah, the Blast Shield into Ring of Frost. By the way, the Linux playing the Jaina here, gone for the auto attack Blizzard build, not going for the more traditional Frostbolt based build, and so really trying to get as many Blizzards and as much value out of Blizzard as he can, and the on top of the Ring of Frost, that's really working well so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a too uncommonly used build, because I think it gained in popularity a lot in the last few weeks. And the Jaina build, well, the advantage is that spoken burst that she offers with it, and yeah, XL5 really struggling with that.
Yeah, so far, if we take a look at those damage numbers, is Jaina top damage on the blue team? Okay. Oh, throw onto Joanna over the wall. There's a stun coming in from Imperius, but nice taunt from Garrosh. Might keep Azul alive, but not for long enough. Ring of Frost catches onto Mouth, but I think he might... No, he's not getting away. He's dead. And that's 2, and the boss, and the cavalry pushing that top lane. This is a very rough situation for XL5 already.
I mean, you have that setup. You thought like, oh my god, we got her behind the wall. Thrall wasn't there, but you think like you have a chance there. But Imperius just running afterwards and saying, no, she's not alone. Just coming through the wall there, and the rest of the team right behind it. So instead of finding a good engage on the Johanna, you just let the lion in. And that's all you got from it.
And now they're already a keep up, but that's not even the biggest advantage that AFK for Coco have right now. It's as well as the 3 forts that they've got still intact, by the way, still completely intact, except the minor tower damage in the mid lane. As well as that, they've got a 2-level lead, including a talent, and I think they want to play for an invade here. No Ring of Frost for 15, no Ancestral for 30. Mikey Yemek gets zoned out by the roots, and I think they're giving this XL5.
I wouldn't. I mean, it's hard to have cooldowns on in your mind, but if they knew about the cooldowns, because they had everything available, I think they could have won this fight despite the talent disadvantage. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a tough situation. Oh, but there's a stun.
Way too accessible and immediately taken out, and no Twilight Dream. Thrall is going afterwards. And there comes the rest. Look at that Blizzard damage, just the leading Xul of the planet here. And we see them even go another hit queue from the Imperius, and they will get the catch against Garrosh as well. Only Li Ming is still alive, but I think... Oh! Whoa! Okay, that was a close call on the Reina. But I think that's gotta be game, maybe.
Yeah, there's 20 armor. The only thing that might save this is the small respawn timers here. They're still waiting. I think it should be game. They're pushing in hard as 5. Health bar's falling pretty low on Rhaegar. If Li Ming can get a reset, there's a chance. There's no chance though. No, 2000 is GG.
No chance. Just too little, too late. And we have the first game in the hands of AFK for Kokora.
And I have to say, that was sort of a massacre. They looked so in charge here, AFK for Coco. in those team fights. Like early game, nice rotations from XL5. They got some picks and stuff. It didn't really matter when push came to shove because in those team fights, the initiation from Joanna and Jaina, the ability of them to just pull the trigger and say, bang, we're going to kill you. And, you know, you've got the Azul, who's very survivable, Garrosh, very tanky, Thrall, fairly tanky, and they just disappeared in the face of that Jaina Reyna damage. If we take a look at the damage numbers, in fact, you'll see
it's
here.
kind of interesting to see that we actually see Xul here, but you know, like he's the one member that doesn't have any problems with doing his damage with Dying Frost, because you just gotta press R, and if you press R, you're gonna spread some damage long after you're dead. So yeah, it's got quite some good damage, and in this crowded team fights, his Poison Nova will do a lot of damage all the time. But yeah, all in all, it's the more valuable Jaina damage that we saw coming in here in second place with 29,000. And it's a 5-15-0 game for her, so that tells you a lot more than the 0 kills we have on the hand of the Li Ming. And we all know Li Ming can only really perform if she gets that kills. And that total number of 20-2 is just devastating for a Li Ming setup.
Yeah, if we take a quick look at the talents, you'll see that Jaina build I was talking about with that auto attack into Blizzard. Going for the roots, of course, at level 16, so you can hold people in place for that. Right, let's go back to our beautiful faces, as we've just heard that a map has been picked for game number 2. And it is exactly what you were predicting earlier, Heroes at School, which is the most commonly picked map in Heroes Lounge. It's Infernal Shrines.
Kind of surprising to me, because on the side of AFK for Cocoa, I would have, because they were able to choose because XL5 decided to go for the first pick here. I expected AFK for Cocoa to rather maybe go for Tomb of the Spider Queen, as they have an exceptional strong record there. And the opponent does not. So that combined, I would have thought to maybe see them there. But instead they go for Shrines, which they do have an exceptionally strong record there as well. So not too surprised either. But yeah, still, I would have loved to see a Tomb of the Spider Queen, you know, just to mix things up, because I guess we're gonna see Shrines quite sometimes today.
Yeah. It would have been nice to get a bit of mixing it up, but sadly these teams have let us down. No, I think of course it's the teams want to play what they know well, and this was picked of course by AFK for Coco because XL5 have gone for the first pick. So I don't know specifically that the teams will have a special strat for that, because it is such a commonly played map. Teams have to know how to play it in general. I mean, any thoughts on AFK for Coco's plan here for draft? Are they just going to bring out what they've just played again? Because honestly, it wasn't particularly map specific. They could just do the same thing again, and it was devastating for them.
I really don't know what they got in mind here for this map. I think Johanna might be raised onto here. Maybe she's gonna even be banned, because Johanna does have really quite a lot of value here. And yeah, with the first picks on the side of XL5, it might lead to a first pick from their side, because the Garrosh in game number 1 did not really get the value there. And on Shrines, he's one of the weaker tanks. You really don't want to have him there. So I might see a first fast pick on that. On the side of AK for Coker, I think we might keep in mind that Sylvanas is quite strong here, and they like to play her. So yeah, could become a Sylvanas setup, maybe. We will see that.
Okay, so we're into the draft of game number 2 in this best of 3 quarterfinal of the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup on Infernal Shrines. So, yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. So, how scared should XL5 be about the player Linux? Because obviously he was, you know, a big factor on that Jaina in the last game.
Yeah, I think they should be pretty concerned about that. I don't know if it's enough to ban a Jaina out really here, because Jaina does like, I mean, it was the general total setup that they had and the double front line, which allowed the Jaina for the more risky build of the Blizzard build, because you can't hardly really count on auto attacks in a usual setup. But with Johanna and Imperius and their general strategy of engaging here strong, I think like it might be worth a ban, but I'm not expecting.
Yeah. It might be. I think that Li Ming's less of a priority on this map for Linux because of the shrine minions blocking Ming shots. So, but we could see any mage really from Linux here. So it's tough for us to call exactly. The mouth ban. I mean, is that specifically targeted? Do you think, or why have they focused the mouth ban so early in this draft?
Yeah, as we had in the first match, Malfurion is the most taken pick for the side of AFK, and they have 15 picks on Malfurion and a win rate of 80%. In the first game, they went for the denial by picking him himself. But I think this time, yes, and I expected the Blaze here because both teams actually love to play the Blaze, and this is a very, very strong Blaze map. So high priority on him here, not surprising to me at all.
And that looks like a Blaze main tank, we think, because Turba is the main tank player, and that is typically how they play Blaze, right?
Okay, and just forget all that I said about Garrosh being weak on Infernal Shrines. Apparently AFK thinks differently here. But okay, let's see. I think Blaze is not the best target for a throw, especially after 10 when he has bunker ready. You don't want to throw a bunker right in the middle of your team. That is just a free engage for the enemy team. And we have the Jaina Reina combination that we saw in game 1 for AFK now on the other side. And we see Garrosh that we saw in game 1 on the side of XL5 now on the other side for AFK. So we're gonna see if it was a matter of skill or if it was a matter of draft. Kinda. Not want to take away anything here.
Yeah, it's tough to call. I mean, I think the Jaina and Reina are a good answer to Garrosh, as we were saying in game number 1. I can't help but think Blaze is a tank who can struggle with that Garrosh, because Blaze, if he gets thrown in and then body blocked, he can't charge out. Blaze's escape only works if he's got a clear path to exit. The thing he can do maybe though is get a bunker off or get his pyromaniac off, and that will keep him alive for long enough for his teammates to join in with potentially a big ring of frost from Odorox in this case. So we'll see. We'll have to see how that goes for them. And there's a Leoric that really punishes Blaze in particular. So a good pickup there from Zesleaf.
Yeah, I think we might see a swap towards an offlane Blaze now. I think that would be a good call here. And maybe go for a more mobile tank, and maybe go for the good old Tyrael Blaze with the bunker and the sanctification. I think something like that could work around maybe. And we see another tank coming in, but it's not Tyrael.
Okay, so is that an offlane ETC or a main tank Blaze, or vice versa? I mean, they don't really have to assign fixed roles to that. They can sort of flex it either way, and just adapt as the game goes on. But as I understood it, they tend to play that main tank Blaze. I think ETC is a great answer to Garrosh in general, as we were saying in the previous draft. So I think the ETC pickup is good, and then you would probably have to have Blaze in the offlane just for the wave clear. But
I think Blaze is gonna do quite an okay job to Leoric. His jet propulsion gets him out of range of the life drain. So kind of surprised by the Tyrande pick, to be honest with you. I know there are a lot of minions that you can poke on, and I see the general setup of Throw, Netherwind, and Luna Flare. But that's about it. And Kalthas providing with a lot of burst, as well as Hanzo, who does have excellent shrine clear as well. So this is a far more interesting setup. On the other side, we might see Mosh Pit. I don't expect to see an ETC offlaner, because you gotta go stage dive then, and I think they value the mosh pit way too much here, together with the Jaina and the Ana. This can be devastating in seconds.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they do it as we go into game number 2 in this best of 3 series. And on the left, in blue, again, make some noise in the chat for AFK for Coco with Rights on Tyron, Poppin' Fresh on Hanzo, Mikey Yamek on Garrosh, Zasleaf on Leoric, and Linux on Kael'thas.
And on the right side, for XL5 being 0-1 down and having to come back here, we have Skyt on Reyna, we have Odorax playing Jaina, we have Myrmidon on the Blaze, we have Turbo on ETC, and Hamas Wallace on the Ana. And just as we talked about it, it's pretty clear that we will see the ETC main tank, I assume, as we saw Turbo and Myrmidon switch the heroes here, swap the role.
Yeah, so I think so that does suggest that the Myrmidon will be in the offlane, as you say. Level 1 talents are in. I mean, roughly speaking, nothing too surprising there. Jaina going for the range on the Frostbolt, not going for the globes or the duration that we saw from. Oh, hello, Sky. Got to be careful about the Garrosh, but no, it was all a bait, just trying to poke down that Garrosh. And in comes Kael'thas to peel off.
Sky really aware of what is going on here. I think he knew that the throw was on cooldown as it was on the Garrosh there. So he got a little bit more brave there and went a little bit in. So yeah, strong. Excuse me, what's it called when you see things ahead? You know.
Foresight.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I've been looking for.
So yeah, I think that's absolutely right, and I think that's one of the issues with Garrosh as a tank. Actually, one of his weaknesses is if you get, if your throw is down, you can sort of just get bullied a bit, and people are just like, yeah, I'm just going to come and spank you now, and what are you going to do about it? And it's a tough situation maybe for Yamek on the Garrosh. In goes Garrosh though, looks for the throw on ETC, but a lovely sleep from Hamas Valas on the Ana. Denies.
And still again, I think like ETC is really one of the best matchups to Garrosh. I'd always like to pick a ETC if I'm facing a Garrosh. And that Blizzard is kind of awkwardly placed, but take a little bit of extra time to clear a camp, why not? And they do have nothing better to do then. Meanwhile, on the top lane, we see Myrmidon really struggle a little bit against that Leoric, apparently, just from the health bars, but as long as fees are just changed, it's all gonna be fine.
Yeah, Leoric is a hero who can threaten Blaze more than others. It does require Blaze to then either get out of the range of Drain Hope or lose a massive chunk of his life. Level 4 talents are in, by the way. Jaina going for the full Frostbolt, not going for anything like the build we saw from Linux on the Jaina in last game, and probably going to go for the full traditional Frostbolt as Turbo got to slide away to touch the Garrosh stun. And Kael'thas going for that Netherwind, the longer range of Gravity Lapse for level 4. So nothing too surprising so far from any of these talent picks. Blaze going to clear the top lane because the blue camp was capped a little bit early maybe, so that's given Blaze the space to clear it, and now the red camp's going to be pushing top as the red team rotates into the shrine. The problem they might have is that Linux on the Kael'thas is clearing this shrine so fast, 20 minions and counting.
And we also have the Neil Peasant's talent on the Leoric, which is gonna deal a lot of extra damage towards that minions. So we're sitting here at 29 and 30 now, so they really have to go in now XL5 if they want to make a challenge out of it.
Yeah, and their camp did die at the top XL5, so they don't really have the top lane pressure that they were hoping for. So now they just have to force a fight fairly even with nothing to help them really. And of course the Punisher secured by AFK for Coco. It's early game though, it won't do too much.
Really unlucky that the camp died there at the top lane. It's sometimes that is just unlucky. This happens, but I think I didn't have I never found any concrete pattern towards an explanation why this happens and when this happens. Maybe you know them more than I do, but
I don't, but I do know that Linux is about to die. Yeah, it gets so much damage coming out from Skype. And there's the slide in from ETC onto Tyrande as well. So 2 kills there made from XL5, basically out of nothing. Or out of a slide over extension, you might say, from AFK for Coco. Great play from them.
a very strong comeback here, and even the experience gap didn't even, like, they are even ahead a little bit here currently. Although we saw Leoric being able to double soak sometimes, which the Blaze wasn't, but the continuously going for the camps and clearing it all the time is going to help them a lot with the experience, apparently. And yeah, it looks like they're doing a great job so far.
Yeah, solid play from both teams so far, but XL5, yeah, well ahead in that XP, not caring that they gave up that first Punisher. As we know, it's not too it's not too important. Oh, that's a lovely slide from ETC, but has he overextended? Because Garrosh, if Garrosh finds him here, that's going to be game over for Taba. And yeah, that's good night.
Kind of surprised that nobody on the side of, like, it looked like XL5 knew that something was in the bush there and just said, like, probably a communication like, don't go, ETC, don't go. And he did. He found a lovely inviting Q there on 3 good targets for it, but the rest of the team didn't fall for it, or maybe just a lack of communication here.
Yeah, and it's one thing you do have to be careful with ETC, and because it's not just that he used this slide, it's perhaps more that he used his phase melt, and that means he doesn't have the ability to push Garrosh away. And it's something you've got to be so careful about with ETC is, you know, if you've used your 2 resources, as Garrosh throws Reyna in, but gets stunned in response, and Sky doesn't really care, just putting out the damage, so much damage, and they do have the level 10 advantage, and that the Reyna's Raider, the little helicopter, will go and poke down, but yeah, they will have to back off now. But I was just saying that ETC, if you use your resources too aggressively, you can get punished, a bit like an Anubrak in a way, but maybe less so.
Okay, kind of surprised that we actually see the water elemental here. I think together with the mosh pit and the general setup with the jet propulsion, I think they could have had some lovely setups for good rings, but instead they go for the water elemental here to even have maybe more control over the Garrosh here.
Well, I'll tell you something that's surprising. Dragon Strike from Hanzo. And
oh!
I think you weren't expecting to see that, and that's going to be...
I wasn't, for sure. By the way, we saw an isolated Garrosh here, and he might suffer a lot of damage here. He tried to go for another throw, maybe? Yes, he gets the ETC, but he should be able to climb through there. Where's the heals from the Ana? Oh, he gets into the bunker in the last second, but
he can't come out because of Phoenix.
He's basically dead in there, isn't he? Yeah, then he comes out and he's dying, and that looks like Blaze might be following up here, and Blaze is escaping the last second, so they end up with a trade here. I felt like ETC should have an easy time to come out there, but he didn't.
So I mean, it's a lovely throw from Garrosh to see, well, look, I'm dead, I might as well throw ETC into some trouble. I like that from the Garrosh player. But I was going to say the Dragon Strike, we've got to talk more about that. So the plan is, I assume, Entomb into Dragon Strike, or Warlord's Challenge into Dragon Strike, and either of those could potentially be an obscene amount of damage. You know, if you drop a living bomb or something on top of it as well from the Kael'thas and some flame strikes, there's potential to just wipe a team immediately, but it does mean you lack that CC to stop the ETC engaging, as he's now trying to do. But that's so ambitious from ETC. He slid in so far, immediately thrown in, immediately killed. Here comes the dragon, cut through Ana like butter, but actually the nano's on Jaina already. She's throwing out serious damage onto Tyrande, but can she get away? No, there's the Phoenix to secure the kill.
Yeah, lovely plays here, but again, over ambitious going in here from the ETC. You really have to have your Q on cooldown if you're facing a Garrosh there before you get thrown way back into the enemy tower lane there. And I get the idea, you know, you want to have mosh, I go for mosh, but you really have to be careful with that.
Yeah, it's very ambitious play from Turbo so far. I think they don't need to do that much when they've got... I mean, at first, so 2 things. One is ETC may need to peel for his team, and the other is, as you point out, he can just get picked off, well, as he may be doing by the Punisher now. The roots are there from the Frozen Punisher. Does manage to slide out to safety. Does have the knockback available for Garrosh if needed, but yeah, he took a huge pounding there and I'm not sure he enjoyed it. So, so the other thing is, you can let the Blaze initiate. Blaze is definitely, of the two frontliners here for XL5, probably Blaze is the better choice for getting that initiation.
Look at that blow up from Linux.
I love that.
Crazy.
Love that gravity lapse. Perfectly timed from Linux, and followed the damage just so spot on. And Reina just disappeared. And you know what can he do in such a situation?
I mean, I thought the idea was to maybe grab that jump another time by the ETC. Instead, maybe the Raider triggered actually the Immortal there. I think they might have not have this plan that Arena is the one targeted by the jump. But he was, and it was devastating for him.
So Myrmidon looking a bit aggressively for this camp. But no, just decides, no, look, I can't go in 1v4 even if I am Blaze. We'll play a bit more cautiously for now. Level 13 talents are in though for both teams. Icy Veins for Jaina, so really going for that full Q aggression burst build, not going for the slightly more cautious build, you might say, for that we saw from Linux last game with the Blizzard and auto attack talents. Blaze going for the...
I mean, it's kind of surprising that we actually see the Icy Veins taken now. If we do have like a full setup of Pierce and Frostbolt and the Water Elemental. But, you know, like, you go for the more sustained fight, it looks like a little bit, and Icy Veins can help in there a lot as well. But together with the Nano Boost, I would expect them to go maybe for an engage here on the Garage, but Indomitable is taken off there, and they find their own engage. Warlord's Challenge is here, and Blaze is erased from the Dragon Strike here. Dragon Strike value, question mark.
No, I think absolutely Dragon Strike value. And the other thing to think about that Dragon Strike and the Warlord's Challenge, those are fairly short cooldown heroics. The Dragon Strike's going to be back up now in 40 more seconds. Warlord's Challenge in 30, Phoenix in 40. So basically, they're going to have all these heroics back up again to do the same combo in 30 seconds. And at that point, Hannah's been found in the box. Maybe he gets out. Actually, no chance with that Blizzard shutting the door on the Entomb. It was frosty outside that house. And down goes Anna. So, yeah, I mean, the Dragon Strike's back up in 10 seconds, and the Warlord's Challenge is up already. They could just do the same thing again, and Turbo and Blaze have to be so careful here because of this potentially devastating combo, and it's just so much damage, and you don't need to get it on everyone. That's the thing, a mistake that people make sometimes with things like Dragon Strike or with Mosh Pit as well and stuff. You don't need to get it on 5 members for it to have value. If you're blowing up one target with it, that's enough if you can isolate them and blow them up fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely, and we know that, like, if we're talking cooldowns, Warlord's Challenge can have a cooldown reduction on 20, and the cooldown reduction on the Dragon Strike, especially with the piercing talent, piercing arrows on 16, is insane for the Hansa as well, so they could do this over and over in a matter of 10 seconds maybe, and yeah, that's gonna be a harsh comeback after 20, if we even gonna see them survive until then.
It's going to be a tough situation. I mean, so Anna does have a smelling salt, which is the the cleanser for the stuns. But the thing is, you can't cleanse the Entomb, and also it doesn't cleanse the taunt, which counts as a silence. So actually, the only thing it's going to cleanse is the Tehran stun and the gravity lapse. Of course, it does give armor if somebody is stunned. So if we see the stacking of the taunt into stun or something, then that 50 armor that comes out from the smelling salts might be very important, as Yemek goes looking for a stun over the wall, tries to find the Reina. There's the Punisher jump again. I think
this time dodging the Lunar Flare, and so he's able to survive here, and they get a lot of free damage onto the Punisher in here.
Yeah, they will be able to clear this Punisher. They won't. Their keep's not going to be threatened, but ETC might be threatened. There's the stun. A lovely stun from Blaze to stop the Warlord's Challenge coming, but the taunt, can ETC make it to the bunker? He's not tried. He's tried to press Mosh Pit in the middle of the Dragon Strike instead. That's slightly ambitious. Yemek has taken a bunch of damage for it, though. Well played to Odorox from the Jaina. And Blaze comes in, picks off the Hanzo. This might be the turnaround they're looking for. Myrmidon starts to chase, tries to catch into that Leoric, but he doesn't want the Leoric. He wants the juicier, softer targets of Tyrande and Kael'thas. Finds the stun onto Lennox. No, but the slow is there. Sets it on fire. Reduces a bit of slow, though. And Myrmidon might have to sit back because his teammates are not quite keeping up with him here because they stopped to kill that Leoric.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they valued the Leoric kill over the kill of potentially the Kael'thas, and I think, you'd rather have the Leoric in the back than maybe not kill anything, if you're joking around too much there. And we have a current 5 against 2 situation, but nonetheless we see Kael'thas trying to fight for this camp there together with the Tyrande, but they have to give it up eventually. But still, they are kind of a threat in there.
Yeah. This is a nice sort of threatening play from AFK Coco without actually hard committing or risking their lives, and it just made Reina panic a little bit and say, "Do we need to get more resources involved? Do we need to, give the camp or anything?" And it's just good to keep your opponent on a sort of uneasy footing. So
yeah, and we just saw in that team fight, we saw how clutch it is for AFK for Coco to really have their timing ready, because we just saw a slightly too late pick on the Dragon Strike. We saw just slightly, the synergy wasn't just that on point as we've seen so many times today from the team AFK for Cocoa here. And immediately XL5 were able to punish that and win the first team fight in the series, actually.
Yeah, as they will be able to contest, I think, some kind of fight before 20 as well with that. But the problem is they have to sort of force now. XL5 need to be hunting for this fight before 20, and it looks like they're not going to get it, actually. So that means, despite being very close on kills so far this game, they are a long way behind. And there's a chance that they might not make 20 before the objective. I suspect they will, but the question is, will AFK for Coco try to force right now? Blaze, you're going blind into that bush, my friend. Maybe they know that Leoric's top. They think they want to fight versus this 20 because Leoric's not there, but Leoric is on the way down very fast, and he has buried the life when he gets there, by the way. Flamethrower for Kael'thas, by the way. So Hanzo went for the Dragon Awakens, which is the thing that allows him to press Dragon Strike basically non-stop. As long as he can keep casting spells.
With the Shrine clear, I mean, it's... By the way, first of all, I think it's worth mentioning that we do have, with active reload on Yana, maybe now, a chance for that burst heal that they really needed in those team fights, so they don't get a blow up. And yeah, level 20 is here now, and it's half a level. We do have the start of the objective. I don't think they can wait for it. They have to force the fight against 20 here. And we talked about this Dragon Strike. It's the Dragon Awakens is here. We do not see the cooldown on 20 for the Garrosh, instead the double throw. And we see him engage here. Blaze is thrown in back, but there's the bunker. That's the one thing that I really expected a lot of the times happening here. And the Dragon Strike is missing everything so far. And yeah, first wave is survived here for the team of XL5. And that's what they need more. Garrosh is deleted.
Yeah, good aggression from Blaze and ETC there. Oh, but here's a stun onto Blaze with a silencing and Tomb. There is a potential mosh pit available, but ETC chooses to use it to only catch one member. This time it's Leoric. Leoric doesn't worry that much about it, and he actually secures the kill onto ETC. Sight, you're trying to get a counter kill onto Tyrande or Poppin' Fresh or anybody. Oh, but I don't think it's going to work out for him. He's stuck in the corner. And the problem is, if they give this Punisher now, it's going to be GG, because this is going onto a very soft-looking keep.
Yeah, and it's gonna be 80 minutes in the game. They can't afford to lose this. It's 2 against 3, but they do have Ana and maybe a Jaina. Do they have Nano Boost available? Not yet. Water Elemental is gonna be there in 2 seconds. He's gonna pop it right away, I guess. No, he's not. They give it... Well, the Punisher is in the hands of AFK anyway. So this is a Mortar Punisher. That's maybe somewhat good news, but I think it doesn't matter all too much, as it's going core pretty soon, and it's going to be hard to defend this off, especially with 27 more seconds waiting time onto the Reina.
Yeah, and this is a tough, a very difficult situation here. A nice bait from Blaze, trying to get this Punisher to go to the mid keep. 12 more seconds until Reina. Level 20s are up for XL5. Look at the Garrosh throw into the Taunt, into the Silencing Entomb, into the Dragon Strike. And that's surely going to be all she wrote. That's going to be AFK for Coco's ticket into the semi-final. Garrosh goes there just to finish off the Ana for fun, but it doesn't matter anyway because they've surely secured this game. Lyric has died, and actually so has Tarond, but they can just march on core here, and it's going to be GG, well played, AFK for Coco.
Wow. So the power of the setup just, just in the end, for good show, the double throw and the silence into on top of that. No chance for ETC or Blaze, who are actually exceptionally well in surviving, but they had no chance to survive anything like that. And yeah, that sealed the deal here, if it wasn't even before.
Lovely, lovely engage from Yamek there on the Garrosh. Just the double throw just looked so juicy. I mean, the thing is, there's an argument to say they were going to win the game anyway, but actually, given the counter kill that XL5 were able to get, maybe, without that hard engage, they might have struggled to actually finish the game there. And so the quality of that engage was potentially necessary to secure them the 2-0 victory and go straight through into the semi-finals. We can have a quick look at the stats from that game. 16 kills to 10 in favor of AFK for Coco. So not a huge kill difference. And we saw some good team fighting from XL5, particularly in that last Shrine fight when they won the early Garrosh kill. And they didn't seem to really capitalize on it enough.
Yeah, I think it's if you're not committing, then I think you get a huge problem, especially with a level 20 Kalthas, because he has that long-range flame strike, and he was just able to poke them down more and more and more. And even if you're one member down, you can't go into that. In the setup that they had, you can't go into a poking battle against Hanzo and Kalthas. And I think they let them drop down too fast. I think they should have retreated, maybe like far away, get healed by the Ana, and once you're really there, then go in with 5 against 4 and go for the crushing finish there, so you maybe have a chance for the Punisher.
Yeah, we are going to have to move on to the next quarterfinal shortly. I mean, any final thoughts about AFK for Coco and what is their magic ingredient so far in this quarterfinal?
Well, I think it's really obvious that they have a very, very strong synergy in team fights. We talked it in the team fight that they actually lost, how clutch it was that the synergy wasn't on time. And we saw it in the last final second, although it didn't matter all too much, but we saw how clutch it is for them if their timing is perfectly there and the positioning is perfectly there. If they can set up their combos, they do have a threat for almost everyone in this tournament, in this Epic Cup. And yeah, I think they just underlined their favorite role to have a shot at the cup in general.
Yeah, I agree. I think this it looked very, very strong there from AFK for Coco, and just everything about their execution was razor sharp. So looking juicy so far, although it's early days indeed. So, with that in mind, we're going to take a look at how that affects the brackets. So, let's have a look at that, if we can get that on the screen. Hopefully. There we go. So, yes, so we can see that AFK for Coco through to the semi-final, and they'll go up against the winner of either Turtle Team or Sloth Sanctuary. Which that match is still ongoing, as I understand it, over on twitch.tv/HeroesLounge2. But we've got, coming up next, we got Unstoppable versus Diablo Immortal. And we're gonna have that back for you in just a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere, we're gonna take a 2-minute break and we will be back presently.